Yeah, I read this. Heroes in Distress by RDM Fave Clips. Summary. Midoriya has a secret or two. Let's be honest, he has a lot, but he just told May that his costume needs some adjustments. They have to be hidden. Bakugo has already shifted, and Midoriya could feel his starting. He just hopes it can wait until the weekend. When has Midoriya ever gotten lucky? Category: My Hero Academia. Pairing: Midoriya and Bakugo, Midoriya and Aizawa, Midoriya and Iida, Midoriya and Todoroki, Midoriya in Class 1A. Rating: Teen. Disclaimer: I nor the writer of this fanfiction own any rights to the My Hero Academia franchise. Oh, okay. Story begins. It started with Midoriya feeling lighter. He thought he was activating flow all the time now, but it was Bakugo who threw that thought out the window with a simple question. What do you have planned for it? Bakugo said. Huh? Stupid nerd, I can smell it on you. You started to shift. It's going to be painful, bloody, and exhausting. Is that why I feel lighter? Our bones becoming hollow is always the first thing, Bakugo said. You're going to need a new uniform for a start, and as much as Auntie cares, she won't understand what I'll need, or why I'm in such pain. I can't go to her, nor can I go to your place. The only place I feel comfortable in is my dorm room, and we don't know how big I'll be. Deadbeat was a giant. I'll figure something out. I'm hoping it won't start until Friday evening, Midoriya said with a sigh. I'll see what the other one says, Bakugo said. Thanks, Gachan. Monday. Midoriya traveled to the support course classroom during lunch with 2 different lunch trays and a binder tucked under his arm. When he entered the classroom, he smiled at seeing Hatsume, being the only one in the classroom working on one of her babies. Hatsume, I brought you some food. Would it be okay if I talk to you while we eat? I need to do a complete remake of my hero costume, and I would like to talk to you about it, Midoriya said, getting the inventor's attention. I did bring you some food, and all the information and blueprints for what I would like for my new uniform. You're finally changing your hero costume? Hatsume said, pushing everything off of her workbench. She made grabby hands at her lunch tray. Sit down and give me my food, 10 million. Show me everything you got. Tuesday. All Might and Aizawa were staring at the updated form of Midoriya Zugu, who, without talking to either teacher, had changed from being a limelight hero to an underground hero and a full costume update on design and support weapons. He was even changing his hero name. Did young Midoriya talk to you about this? All Might said. I wish he did, but I'm glad he's no longer going to be a shadow of you. I could have started training him underground tactics sooner, Aizawa said. Any idea on what his hero name will be? All Might shook his head. Thought so. I wonder who else will go underground, because Todoroki seems to follow Midoriya around everywhere, so once it gets out Midoriya will be an underground hero, I'm sure he will follow. Midoriya's canines had grown sharp enough to tear into raw meat. That concerned everyone but Bakugo, and Midoriya started to eat raw pork meat like it was the best meal he has ever tasted. His eyes had grown sharper and... What? Oh, okay. His eyes had grown sharper, and the pupils turned into slits when he looked at Mineta, who was giving the girls in Shinso a bad time. Grapeberry, Midoriya said with a growl, his canines showing as blood from the pork dripped off of them. Why don't you walk yourself down to Erasure and confess all your crimes, because the next time you leer at someone in my horde or make a sexist comment, I will swing at you. And I can promise you that it will be a home run. Mineta ran out of the room, shaking and crying as Midoriya literally growled out the last word, not noticing the green lightning sparks striking out of his arms. Wait, Deku, why don't you? Bakugo said. Know your place, explosion, Midoriya said, growling as he glared at Bakugo. Iida, now will be a good time to get Aizawa-sensei, Hagakure said. Fine, Bakugo said, bowing his head. However, I want her to supervise our first fight. Someone's gotta make sure you know how to walk. Can someone please tell me what in the world just happened? Iida said as Midoriya went up to his room. I agree, like Bakugo didn't get all explodey on Midoriya. Midoriya didn't even call him Kachan. Kaminari said. I believe we still need to inform Aizawa-sensei, because their behavior is already questionable. Momo said. Something is going on, and it needs to be addressed. Wednesday. You want me to do what? Aizawa said, staring at Midoriya and Bakugo. He held up a hand. One at a time, please. His two problem children looked at each other before Midoriya took a step back and motioned to Aizawa with a nod of his head. I don't know when, but sometime fucking soon, Deku and I are going to need a large area to fight in. But, one with no buildings. We need that one hero, the one Pink Chinks and Frogface are interning under, to supervise it, Bakugo said, crossing his arms. Can I ask you why you want the number 9 hero, Ryugu, to supervise the spar between a member of UA staff? The old hag knows her well, and freaking Deku believes she'll be able to stop us with her dragon form with how destructive our quirks are. Aizawa blinked at the way Bakugo worded that. He made it seem like it wasn't exactly quirks that they were going to be using to fight with. It didn't quite answer his question, but he already knows that that's all he will get from Bakugo. I'll see about it, but if she can do it, then it will be when it fits into her schedule and not your guys's. Are we clear? Aizawa said, looking at the two. Midoriya smiled and nodded his head, while Bakugo smirked like he knew something that Aizawa didn't know about the pro hero. Whatever, hobo. And you will be respectful to her. Now, Midoriya, I need to speak to you alone about your dramatic change in behavior. I'll listen to your request then, if that's okay. Aizawa said, looking at the green-haired student. That's fine, Erasure, Midoriya said, with a nod and his head nod of his head, his green curls bouncing with it. Deku, explosion. Kami, I'll be happy when this is all over, Bakugo said. Old hag is fighting Auntie Inko. Auntie Inko still refuses to believe that this is what is happening is natural. Midoriya snorted. Well, I would gladly ask you to send Apple Mint a picture, but she will just say that that Zoom edited it, or something. I'll have to talk to High Specs again to help me get away from her, Midoriya said. Problem child, why are you calling everyone by their quirks? Aizawa said as Bakugo left the room. Because I love quirks. Aizawa waited for more of an explanation, but he never received one. Okay, so why did you call Mineta Grapeberry? And I'm guessing your mom is Apple Mint? Aizawa said. I hate jelly pouches, and Grapeberry and Apple Mint are both jelly pouch flavors. Midoriya said. So people who I love are quirks, and those who I have no opinions on are their names, and those who I hate are jelly pouch flavors. Kid, that's like something a 5-year-old would do, Aizawa said. Did Applemint not put the fact that I'm a half-breed on my file again? Everything would be better if Fire Breath was still alive. Midoriya said, I wouldn't have to worry about so many responsibilities right away and could get trained correctly. Half-breed? Yeah, human-wise I'm 16, but my half-breed just woke up because I finally have enough heat in my body to live. So half-breed is like 4, Midoriya said, bouncing on his feet. So, can I have something that has your scent along with rewind and voice? I already have mind controller because he's an honorary Class 1A member. Why? Because you're part of my horde? Dragon is adopting invisible, and rewind imprinted on me, just like I've imprinted on you. Congratulations, I'm going to be your son in a little bit, Midoriya said. Yeah. You know what? None of this is making sense. So I'm going to go see Recovery. Peach won't heal me. No quirk is being used. Her quirk will delay all the progress I've made. Plus, I'm sure she'll consider what is going to happen as self-inflicted. Besides, fire is healthier for me. What the hell, kid? Todoroki and Iida were confused when Bakugo said to use their quirks on Midoriya. Iida was the most confused because his engines had blue fire, which means it was hotter than Todoroki's. They went to Midoriya's room to ask why, when they were allowed to enter, they stared. Midoriya had things all over his room in a circle. Why was a pair of Iida's glasses sitting under a stuffed animal that Eri gave to Midoriya? Was that Todoroki's shirt tucked into a pillow with a ratty blue jacket that looked like one of Dabi's tucked into the other one? Midoriya was sitting in the middle of the circle, a small blue dragon growling at them with crimson eyes glaring at them. The blue dragon was curled up on Midoriya's lap, and Midoriya was washing the dragon with a damp washcloth. Fire Ice, that engine, Midoriya said, greeting them. What can I help you with? Bakugo said we can use our quirks on you, that it would help you, but do you trust me? Midoriya said. Yes, Todoroki said with no hesitation. Of course, Iida said. Then trust me when I say everything will be explained in a little bit. The fire keeps me alive, and not just no mango, Midoriya said. Who is no mango? Iida said. Todoroki saw something moving before he stared back at Midoriya. He pointed at something behind Midoriya. Is that a tail? Thursday. Aizawa had a bad feeling about today, and it involved his problem child. It could have started with pro hero Ryuko laughing when he explained why he was calling. He also didn't understand why her response was, whenever Greenie is ready, let me know. I can work around his schedule. It may have something to do with the email Nezu sent to staff over Inko Midoriya getting arrested for child neglect, child endangerment, and that temporary guardianship is going towards him while Nezu works on the adoption papers for him. Aizawa did not discuss anything about adopting Izuku Midoriya, and now All Might is glaring at him. Yeah, that glare isn't helping matters over today. Neither is his husband's excited chatter over why he didn't talk it over with him. He wasn't complaining, but he would have liked to have a room made for Midoriya beforehand. It could have had something to do with the itchiness of his skin or the intense heartbreak and loneliness he was feeling randomly. It might have had to do with the random bursts of pain on his shoulder blades, that felt like something was growing out of the muscle and skin there. Or it could have been because he teaches a class of Hellspawn today, and today's shared heroics foundation will cause a lot of trouble. Yeah, he's going with that last option. All of them are Hellspawns. Midoriya is excited. He's been waiting for class for this. A class lesson where he gets to play a villain who is also keeping an important person hostage. He's been waiting forever for this day. Okay, he didn't care about the hostage. He knows he's exaggerating the forever part. He just wants to be a legal villain for once. He's going to have so much fun. Okay, the heroes this time should be Iida, Shoji, Bakugo, Mineta, Asui, and Hagakure. All Might said, reading off the flashcard while Aizawa rolled his eyes. The lone villain of this round will be Midoriya. Midoriya, Aizawa said, rolling his shoulders, you have 5 minutes to change into your hero costume. Grab the training dummy and go to the marked building. He pulled up a holographic map of the city's training grounds. A red arrow pointing to what looks like a department store. Your villain goal will be attached to the training dummy. Any questions? No, sir. Your 5 minutes starts now, Aizawa said. The plan was already forming in his mind because he was getting a grand slam today with the lessons, and he was totally going to get praise. Now listen up, heroes, Aizawa said, pulling up a fake profile of the training dummy. The hostage is a powerful politician from America. Your job, first and foremost, is to rescue the hostage alive. We have confirmed that the villain Deku has attached a bomb to them, and that they are being held in the department store. There are no civilians due to the fact that the department store had to go through some reconstructions because of a villain fight that happened a week prior. Once the hostage has been freed from the bomb and brought outside, we'll send someone to retrieve them. You have 30 minutes to rescue the politician. Any questions? Did the freaking nerd make any demands? Can we communicate with them at all in any way? Bakugo said. Should we engage with Deku, sir? Shoji said. No demands, no communication. Do not engage with him unless it is necessary. Even then, keep the fighting to a minimum. The department store cannot take much more damage without going bankrupt. Aizawa said. Bakugo said. Any further questions? Aizawa said. No, sir. The heroes said in response. Good. Suit up and rescue our hostage, Aizawa said. Midoriya knocked down some of the buildings in the front of the locked broom closet, where he placed the hostage. He sprinted down the flight of stairs and knocked down more of the building structure, blocking access to shops, other closets, and in general. He did stay out of sight of the windows and cameras. He had placed a training dummy on the 12th floor and was working his way down the floor when he started to smell a strong scent of discomfort and disgust. Greatberry has chosen death, Midoriya said with a deep rumbling growl in his throat. I'm coming, acid. The moment Midoriya reached the 5th floor was when things started to turn for the worst for the heroes and, of course, Midoriya himself. Aizawa blinked as he watched the camera feeds of the students. The heroes had split into groups to cover more ground. It was a smart plan, especially with Hagakure going with Ashido and Mineta to scout ahead. However, Aizawa couldn't predict that he'll see a light emerald colored tail reaching out from the shadows to wrap around Mineta, toss him into the air like a baseball, The girls in the same room as him all cheered while Shinso smirked, and with a resounding crack, the tail hit Minetta's stomach. Aizawa watched as Minetta went flying out of the window and through the air. "Wonder how far the perv will go," Shiro said. "I totally would have helped by canceling his gravity," Uraka said. I would say Grand Slam. I would say that was a Grand Slam," Shinso said. "But I thought Midoriya talked to Minetta about running home," Todoroki said. "Todoroki, please allow Shinso and me to teach you about the ways of baseball," Zero said, getting on his knees in front of the fire ice user with his hands clasped together. "Please, I'm begging you." A loud, painful scream that no one had ever heard before came through the audio comms, and most definitely did not come from Minetta. And if it did, it would totally be ignored. He's just in Class 1A, so Netsu could garner enough evidence that his parents were bribing the school officers and not abusing their power. Oh, and abusing their power. Of being on the school boards, it's why Shinso has been in Class 1A a lot lately. "Everyone, what's your status report?" All Might said as Aizawa motioned for him to take over the camera feeds. Eraserhead is on his way. "Everyone that is in the observational room stay here," Aizawa said, ordering the students. "Listen to All Might." "Sensei, there's a lot of blood," Mina said. "Invisible Girl and I are okay, but happy that grape juice is gone. The blood is heading down to the 4th floor, Hagakuri said. "Frappy and I are okay, but," Shoji said. "The screams sound worse than the..." I apologize. Why the fuck? I apologize for that. The screams sound worse than what the audio is picking up. "Four Eyes and I are fine. That's just crappy Deku," Bakugo said, not surprised. An automatic voice came over the comms. "Invisible Girl has been captured." "There's a full-blown dragon dripping with blood all over its body. Fourth floor, Mina yelled. "Pinky has been captured." Aizawa had left the room running as Bakugo said that the scream came from Midoriya. Isn't Midoriya's tail green?" "Todoroki, what the hell?" Everyone evacuate the building, Aizawa said in the comms. All Might, I'm going to need reinforcements." "Screw that, Deku ain't dying, and we still have a hostage to save." "Ground Zero," Aizawa said as Asui and Shoji left the building. "Now is..." "Deku, you piece of shit, why the hell are you so big? You're just a baby." Eraserhead, Deku is on the 4th floor. He seems to be in a lot of pain, but is also happily nuzzling Pinky and Invisible Girl. It seems like when he's nuzzling them, he's not in so much pain, Iida said. "We're also safe, but Ground Zero is talking to Deku." "Ground Zero has been captured." "Let me go, I don't want your attention. Stop cooing over me. I'm your bodyguard, damn it." "Ingenium has been captured. Midoriya, I must ask you to desist from this behavior at once. It is unhygienic, too. Accept the nerd's affection, Four Eyes, unless you want him to be in pain." Aizawa got to the scene and stared. Blood was dripping from the body of a 6-foot-wide, 8-foot-tall dragon. From the snout to where the emerald tail started, eerie glowing eyes looked at Aizawa happily. A tiny murr and chirps came from its mouth, and the tail was wagging like an excited puppy. "Bakugo, you have 5 seconds to explain," Aizawa said, staring at the 4 students who were in between the dragon's front paws. Deku is half dragon, and the leader of the Midoriya clan since his father died when he was 4. He's finally shifted fully into his dragon form for the first time. It will get easier the more he shifts, but he's also taken care of our cousin and me whenever we have to shift, Bakugo said with a smirk. And since Deku imprinted on you as a father figure, you now have a dragon son and will be introduced to all of the dragon family. Midoriya nipped at Bakugo's hair. "Quit grooming me!" Bakugo said, letting out an explosion on Midoriya's snout, which blasted some blood off, revealing light green scales that were forming over the exposed muscles. Midoriya leaned over and stared at Aizawa, his eyes the only color that wasn't red or making a puddle of blood over the captured students, and, "Don't ever lick me again," Aizawa said. A large, bumpy tongue slid against Aizawa's face. It felt like a giant cat's tongue. Honestly, Aizawa didn't mind, even as he tried to glare at Midoriya into stopping. It would just be nicer if the dragon wasn't bleeding all over him, his students, and the floor. Friday. Aizawa glared at Bakugo, Todoroki, and Iida. Even if his husband was panicking because the emerald dragon was licking, nuzzling, and nipping at Eri was just laughing and not fearing if her quirk went off on the dragon. As Ryuko explained, Eri's quirk would never hurt dragons, as dragons are usually protectors of unicorns, and the unicorns were healers of dragons. It was cute and adorable, and Aizawa wasn't going to ruin any moment that had Eri laughing, even if it was at the expense of his husband. Can one of you explain to me as to why I received a call from Endeavor's agency claiming that you 3 filled it with hibernal mango jelly packets to the point that no one could enter the building, or why Snape came to me and already told me that when you became 3rd years, I'm already assigned as your homeroom teacher again? Well, as class president, I strive to be helpful to help fulfill my fellow classmates with their activities, Iida said, doing his arm-chopping motion. And Todoroki wanted to finally support his dad in a healthy manner. Lousy aim is just mad that we needed him for his theme and not for any gun training, Bakugo said, crossing his arms. "Ah, I found it," Todoroki said before showing the teacher his phone. Number 1 hero at Endeavor. Habanero mango is what really gets my hellfire going, y'all. Insert cowboy emoji here because I don't use emojis on any of my verified accounts. This was all Midoriya's idea, wasn't it? Aizawa said, ignoring the now distressed cries of help as Midoriya started to nuzzle his husband behind him. A look behind him confirmed that Midoriya was trying to paw his husband's hairstyle down, gray smoke coming out of his nostrils. "He's one of the greatest friends anyone could ask for," Todoroki said. That is the end of this fanfiction, Heroes in Distress by RDM Fave Clips. 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to drink some water and eat something healthy. Toodaloo.